I've mentioned this story before, earlier on, one of my first few, and I bring it up again because I feel like that again. In fact, I felt like that so many times in my life. The feeling of being lost that I can't even count. It's a terrible feeling. It's a feeling like you don't have any choices left, like you've gone through all of your decisions. There was a time when I was 8 years old that me and my family went to Washington, D.C., and I got lost. And I was lost there for 6 hours in the middle, right in front of the Capitol, and it was a really busy time. Millions of people were there, 4th of July, and all of the museums were just packed. And I remember this feeling that the first few hours were more adventure, right? It was kind of fun. And then as time went on and the sun started to go down and the sun started to fade, that I remember feeling just deathly scared. And I feel that right now. I feel those feelings, and I feel like I'm sitting on that bench like I did there. I feel like I've prayed so much for help, and nothing's come. And then, in this story, though, I'm on this bench after 6 hours. It's almost dark, and I remember saying one more prayer, and there was this picture that came into my mind right after I finished the prayer of this mammoth, this woolly mammoth, the skeleton of a woolly mammoth in one of the museums that was on the other side of the kind of the middle ground, right, where there's tons of tents and millions of people. And I remember it getting dark, and I remember standing up, and I walked straight over to this museum. It was kind of catty-corner to where I was. It was weird. I had been through all of the museums looking for my parents, and no go, and I remember being on the southeast side on a bench, and this museum was on the northwest. That's what I remember it as. And I remember walking straight there, didn't do anything else. And I remember walking through the front door, and my mom was standing right in front of this mammoth. And I remember she was crying. And I remember thinking that my prayer worked very well at that point. I felt like it was nothing short of the power of God that could have done that. What else? How else would you explain it? Just pure luck. That I just decided to walk to that one museum at that exact time when she was standing there. This is before we had cell phones, And so how else was I going to communicate with her? She probably said countless relentless prayers before that too. How else do you explain it, right? I remember that story. I remember the scary feeling. I remember me feeling very claustrophobic and not feeling hopeless. Feeling like my prayers weren't being answered. Like why couldn't I have gotten that picture 3 or 4 hours earlier when I was praying? And I think it was because I had to go to the lowest point of my mistake here. I had to suffer to the very lowest point when I couldn't do anything else, when I had no other options, when I had kicked and screamed enough and there was no more kicking and screaming to be had. And I just remember sobbing on that bench, just really crying, and I was only 8. That memory was stuck with me so deeply. I think it changed my life and my ideas about God and about communication and prayer. And how could I go back on that, after something like that? You really shouldn't, And prayers come through for me in tons of times. I feel like right now I'm in a position where I've been praying heavily for that same thing, and I feel like I've dropped pretty low. Could I go lower? Yeah. Could my life end? Yeah. There's a lot of things that could happen that haven't happened, so it's scary. It's scary to think that things could get worse. And will there be a hand to help me through that at the end? That's the question. That's the scary part. That's what's called a step of faith. It's when all the scary part starts hitting. The whole point is to make you feel like hopeless, reliant, and I feel like I've been there. But I don't know if there's going to be a hand this time. I hope there is. Something to lead me to the right place. Something to change to where I can get my footing a little more. I don't want to sleep in my car again. I really don't. I've already been there for a year. I don't want to go back. Of course we don't. But I'm willing to. It's okay with me. It's gonna be terrible again, but maybe it'll be distracting enough to keep me out of feeling as depressed. Maybe it won't. That's the scary part. I don't want to go any deeper in my depression right now. I don't want to feel any more sadness. I don't want to feel any more emptiness. I don't want to feel any more grief, pain. And I can't afford not to feel it. And I can't afford to stay where I'm at. This is the cheapest place to live. It's one step above homelessness, so I'm almost there. With my kids. So I feel scared. I feel like I'm sitting on that bench again. But it's hard because when I was sitting on that bench, it's not like I felt like there was going to be a solution. I felt like I had reached the end of my journey. And it feels like that now, but am I really there yet? And that's the scary thing to think about. Could things get worse? I hope they don't. I'm doing everything in my power to not let them get any worse than they are. But it's not sustainable. I can only sustain this for so long before I don't have any options anymore. And I feel like I already don't have any options, but I sort of do. I mean, I still have a credit card. I could still get into an enormous amount of debt and lose everything, right? There's always that option. I don't think that would be good for my kids to see, to have happened to me. So I'm hoping that we don't all have to get to that point every time in our lives to learn a lesson or move to the next thing or finally be able to make a change. Maybe I'm a crappy enough person that I need to go through that lesson again. That's probably it. Maybe I need to lose everything that I love, that I have left. I don't know. And how do I ever love myself after that? As if it was hard enough to love myself now. How impossible would it be to love myself then? Or to have any self-respect? I already don't care about myself. I don't take care of my body. I don't show any good thing towards my body in sacrifice for my kids or for other people or for I don't know what. I I just feel so freaking lost right now.